oftentimes we are put in very interesting situations. And I want to say interesting because it's not challenging unless it's your perception that it's a challenge. Hello and welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited you are here. I was tuning in today and just feeling into what would serve the highest good to talk about. And the first thing I got from the Akashic Records that was really important to talk about is transformation, specifically spiritual transformation. Transformation is your ability to transform or to transcend and then you can fill in the blank. It could be patterns, thoughts, it could be relationships, it could be self-worth. You get to define what the transformation is. And all of your transformations can be a spiritual process if you allow them to be. And the reason why I'm being guided to emphasize spiritual transformation is because oftentimes we are put in very interesting situations. And I want to say interesting because it's not challenging unless it's your perception that it's a challenge. Perception is key here. We all have the ability to perceive any given situation any way that we want. And when we are given opportunities to grow, we have the opportunity to take any situation, good, bad, or indifferent, and give ourselves permission to perceive it in a way that allows us to have a spiritual transformation. And I want to emphasize this is not spiritual bypassing because it's not about being positive. It's about getting curious and giving yourself permission to go, I'm in this storm, and what am I here for? What am I supposed to be learning? What am I supposed to be transforming? What am I to take from this experience and run with it so I don't have to keep recreating it? And this is the spiritual transformation part. You get to define what the transformation is. You get to get curious about what the transformation is, because the pattern will keep repeating itself until you have learned the lesson, until you've put it to bed, until you have acknowledged that that is complete. This is complete. I know for me, I've had all sorts of different situations where people will come into my life, wreak all sorts of havoc, and then I'm just sitting there going, WTF, why is this happening, right? And instead of staying in victimhood, which I could, I was taught that is very easy to do. Instead, when something like that happens and I'm oblivious to the situation, because sometimes we can have the situation just come in and come in and come in and come in and come in. And it's we're just so blinded that is a spiritual transformation trying to give you the opportunity to transform whatever it is that you are working on, whatever it is that you made a soul agreement with. We can be oblivious. And so once you become conscious instead of unconscious to it, you then have the opportunity to go, why is this happening? What am I learning from this? How do I want to transform my experience with this experience? Because you have the ability to define what your transformation is. You have the ability to decide if you are going to sit there and woe me or be victim, and please note that there are awful things that happen, and I am not telling you not to process those awful things, because you have the right to be angry, you have the right to be mad, you have the right to have all of the feelings and all of the emotions and all of the reactions that you want to have to it. But eventually you have to take a step back and go, what's the transformation here? And how do I want to grow from this? So know that in no way, shape, or form am I not telling you to be angry. I'm not telling you not to be upset, because sometimes the anger, sometimes the rage, sometimes the sadness is the very thing that will assist you in the transformation. And it's because oftentimes people don't want to feel those feelings. I know for me, like anger, I was taught that anger wasn't allowed. Like my parents could be angry all the time, but my feelings, my emotions, my reactions were just too much for them because they just didn't know how to handle me, and they weren't given the tools to handle their own emotions as well. And so when it comes to those things, like as adults, we have to figure out how to work through them. And sometimes anger is the way to actually work through it. And you want to allow the anger to be healthy. You want to allow the sadness to be healthy, and it can be the thing that assists with the change. And so how do you do that? How do you give yourself permission to be angry and permission to be mad and permission to still have the transformation? It's one, giving yourself permission to actually feel the emotions when they're arising and acknowledge how they're making you feel, so then you can actually feel those emotions. Because you might think you're sad, but you're really mad. You're really angry. You're like on the verge of rage, but you have never given yourself permission to actually admit or feel those feelings. And so giving yourself permission to allow the feelings to come in and channeling them in a healthy way. And so channeling them in a healthy way could be journaling them. It could be talking to someone. It could be painting or punching a punching bag or going for a walk or going to break some stuff. Like it can all be healthy. Like it can all be healthy. And they have like a couple, like maybe earlier last year, no, maybe middle of last year, I was processing a lot of stuff. And like I told my husband, I'm like, I just need a day to just give myself permission to be sad without anybody like worrying about me or anybody asking me what's wrong. Like I just need some time and space to process what I'm trying to process, but I'm confused on what it is, but I actually need the space to do it. And so I'm not available today. And for me, that was like one of the best things, because I went and I took 4 hours. I went and to, what is it called? The shamanic breath workshop. And then I gave myself permission to just be with those emotions in my own sacred container after I was done. And it was awesome. Like it was so fantastic, because I knew that that was the very thing that would help me get those emotions forward, acknowledge them, and then release them. And sometimes it involves being around other people. Sometimes it involves being around just yourself. Whatever the case is you get to decide what the spiritual transformation is. You get to decide if you choose to feel your feelings or not. You get to decide if you want to perceive the situation good, bad, or indifferent. You get to decide all of that. You are in control of your destiny. You are in control of your perception. You are in control of your reactions. And some of you might go, well, I'm not. Like, I feel out of control. Great. That is a choice that you get to make. And sometimes feeling out of control is the very thing that you have to admit that you are feeling that way, so that you can start to process what is wanting to come in to process to change. There's our perception, our human experience is so layered and so complex and so magnificently messy and beautiful and technical. And it's just really cool to see and to witness, because you and I can go into the same room, we can witness the same thing, and our perceptions of that situation is going to be slightly different or way different. And the reason for that is because we view things through our lens of experiences. And some of those experiences come right to the forefront. I had something happen recently that I was being told about something that was going on, and reactions and feelings and all this different stuff. And it instantly took me back to a time where my mom was leaving my stepdad. We had to have the cops called because we needed to get out of our house safely. And so sometimes situations that you experienced from the past will come forward in everyday situations that let you know, like, hey, you're still processing something from that experience. And this is going to make you perceive different situations through that lens because of that experience. And it's not necessarily a bad thing when this happens. It's actually quite beautiful when it happens, because for me, I'll get curious and be like, ooh, what is that? Like, there's something there for me to look at. There's something there for me to heal. There is something there still lingering in my conscious and in my subconscious that is still making me perceive things in a certain way. And it's time to look at it and decide how I want to assist in transforming it if I'm ready to do that. And that's the cool thing about spiritual transformation. You get to decide what your timeline is. You get to decide how you want to transform every day through your thoughts, your words, your deeds, and your actions. And that is such a powerful thing that you have control over. And you might go, but I can't control how I feel. You can. You can work through certain emotions. You can work through certain experiences. And it takes time. I'm not saying that it happens overnight. Like, there is so many things that have so many layers that takes a lot of time sometimes to work through, to understand, and to heal from. And when you do get on the other side of it, you're going to be like, not even able to recall it sometimes because it's just not there. I know for me, like, I would constantly feel like I was stupid, like constantly feel like I was stupid and that I wasn't smart because I had all sorts of different learning disabilities growing up. And so I labeled myself as not intelligent. And it was something that I had a really hard time with, and it would come up a lot in my early 20s. That doesn't come up at all for me anymore. Like, it's not even in my atmosphere. It's not even in my realm of reality. Like, I used to like tell dumb blonde jokes to beat someone to the punch just so it would set my own insecurities at ease, because if I'm making fun of myself, nobody can make fun of me, right? But I can't, like, that's not even in my thought process anymore, and it's not something I worry about. It's not something I'm concerned about. And if someone judges me for it, oh well, I don't care anymore, because I've made peace with myself, and I know I'm super intelligent, and I know I'm smart, and I know that I have problems in my own way, and I know how to work through them because I have different systems in place to work through those things that may be more challenging for me than others. And it's okay. And if somebody judges me for it, I don't really care anymore, because it's not my problem. It's their problem if they're judging me. And that's the cool thing about spiritual transformation, is like, you go through these waves, and like what you're concentrating on and what you're worried about and what you are having a challenge with in this chapter can completely transform from the next chapter to the next chapter to the next chapter. And then like 10 years later, 20 years later, 5 years later, whatever the timeline is, you can look back and go, whoa, I haven't thought about that. Or, whoa, that's not even in my atmosphere anymore. Like, that's not even in my realm of reality anymore. And it's such a cool thing. So with that being said, what do you want your spiritual transformations to be? What do you want your reactions to be? And when you are in a reaction that is not serving your highest good, can you give yourself permission to acknowledge it, to catch it, to give yourself permission to think through how you will want to react next time that situation comes up? Or if, let's say, you did react in a way that you're not proud of, or you're questioning, give yourself permission to get curious about what the transformation is. So next time, if there is a next time, 'cause sometimes when we have such a bad reaction or like next level reaction, I can say, is you might not have it again because you're taking the time to dissect it and to get curious about it and then go, okay, this is what I'm learning from that. This is what I'm going to give myself permission to heal from. Because sitting in guilt and shame is not helping. Sitting in guilt and shame keeps that frequency in your field so that you can have that experience again to either validate that feeling or to heal that. And for me, I want to heal it. I don't want to sit in guilt and shame. I don't want to have that experience. And if you have ever had an experience where you were sitting in guilt and shame, it is a cruddy feeling to feel. It does not feel good. And so you have the ability to transform. You have the ability to magnificently change your reality and have the spiritual transformations that you are seeking, that you are wanting, that you deserve to have. Because every experience in your life has some sort of meaning, and we don't have to dissect every experience, but you do have the opportunity to dissect when you're in spiritual transformation, when you're having challenging or interesting experiences, and how to change them and how to transform them, because you deserve that, my friend. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like and subscribe and define what you want your spiritual transformation to be when you are having those experiences and feel your feelings, my friend. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.